You believe that children are being abused by pedophiles in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
So why are you sitting down talking to me? Why aren't you sitting down with the police right now?
I've told the police. In fact, if anybody wants to go back to 1993 when I was interviewed by the Santa Barbara Police Department, I sat there and I gave them the names. They're on record. They have all of this information.
I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like. Could it? And then you find out later on the track that you were exactly on track with a lot of this stuff.
A matter of human hunting. And when a mind control slave such as myself was stripped of clothes and turned loose in the woods, I was then hunted by George Bush, Dick Cheney, and Bill Clinton.
I'm saying that there are people that were the people that did this to both me and Corey that are still working, they're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this business.
And they are.
And they do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
And that they're still in this business?
Yes.
¡Comieron humanos! ¡Asquerosidad! ¡Comieron humanos! Yo no estaba enterada de nada. Que había, o sea, los asesinatos sí, pero que habían comido humanos. ¡Humanos! ¡Fuera la carne humana!
So after years of being completely blackballed by Hollywood, Mel Gibson has suddenly stormed back into the spotlight. And it's all because old clips of him calling out the industry and even Epstein back in the 90s are resurfacing everywhere online. Now let's be real. Mel was the last person anyone expected to look like the hero in this story. With all the controversies tied to his name, most people had already written him off. But here's the twist. He may have been a lot of things. But according to these files, he was not one of the monsters listed, and insiders are saying his refusal to participate in certain alleged ritualistic behavior might be the real reason his career mysteriously tanked. The wild part. He warned us over and over again. He even helped bring Sound of Freedom to life, a film meant to open people's eyes. And now, looking back, it hits very differently. Because if what that movie showed was disturbing, the alleged reality appears even darker. As most of you already know, Epstein has been dominating headlines after the DOJ reportedly released over 3 million documents, including thousands of images and videos allegedly involving powerful elites and vulnerable women. And here's the chilling part. That may not even be everything. There are claims that additional evidence hasn't been made public because it could shake the country to its core. The files allegedly include disturbing footage of young girls being chased around by Epstein and other grown men while barely clothed. Some images are described as so graphic they're hard to even put into words. What exactly happened to them isn't spelled out in full detail, but it doesn't take much imagination to understand it wasn't anything good. In one email attributed to Epstein, he allegedly wrote, "They are like shrimp. You throw away the top, keep the body." And honestly, that line alone confirms people's worst fears. So far, the only major arrest tied directly to the case has been Epstein himself. And yes, there are still whispers online questioning whether he's really gone. Meanwhile, his associate Ghislaine Maxwell is serving time in what many describe as a relatively comfortable prison setup, reportedly even allowed certain privileges. And then there's the detail that continues to raise eyebrows. Reports that Epstein purchased 330 gallons of sulfuric acid in 2018. Now, sulfuric acid in large quantities has the capability to dissolve organic material completely, down to the bone. Make of that what you will. Especially considering this purchase allegedly happened the same day the FBI opened a case against him. Coincidence? That's up for debate. While all of this chaos was unfolding, one name kept resurfacing: Mel Gibson. And I know that shocks some of you. For years, the industry painted Mel as unstable and dangerous. But now, some are asking whether that narrative was flipped. Remember his 2004 blockbuster, The Passion of the Christ? He had to fund it himself because major studios reportedly didn't want to back a faith-centered project. Despite its massive success, he was hit with renewed accusations and intense backlash. Critics claimed he was promoting hate, and the media frenzy only grew loud. Now an old clip from 1998 is circulating where Mel talks about disturbing behavior he witnessed when he first entered Hollywood, at just 25 years old. He said he couldn't understand how everyone else seemed so comfortable with what was happening behind closed doors. At the time, mainstream media dismissed him as unhinged, but looking back, some people believe he was describing the very type of misconduct that later surfaced in the Epstein files. He was essentially a cancelled before cancel culture even had a name. Studios distanced themselves, roles dried up, and his major return only came when he independently produced The Passion of the Christ with his own money. There are even critics who've described Hollywood as a modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah. Strong words, but words that are now being repeated in light of recent revelations.
You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, you know, Weird Town, you know, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill, and it's like that. And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like, could it? And then you find out later on the track that you are exactly on track with a lot of this stuff. Not specifically on track, but that you could, that some of your worst nightmares were real.
But it doesn't end there. After Mel was pushed out, many believe the industry elevated new faces they could more easily manage. One of them was Jim Caviezel, the actor who portrayed Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. Now, what exactly happened behind the scenes after that film? That's where speculation ramps up. Some claim that whatever Jim witnessed changed him. And eventually, both he and Mel became associated with another controversial project, The Sound of Freedom. The film, produced by Mel and starring Jim, reportedly grossed over $250 million worldwide on a $14.5 million budget. It focused on exposing child trafficking networks. The story begins in Honduras, where a struggling father, Roberto Aguilar, is deceived by a former beauty queen posing as a talent scout. She convinces him to let his children, Miguel and Rocio, participate in what turns out to be a fake modeling opportunity. The children are kidnapped and sold. Jim's character works to dismantle trafficking rings and rescues Miguel, only to discover Rocio is still being held in Colombia. Despite bureaucratic restrictions, he resigns from his government job and takes matters into his own hands. With help from allies like former cartel accountant Vampiro and local contacts, he stages an undercover operation in Cartagena, posing as buyers to expose the darker underbelly of trafficking networks. At the time, many viewers saw it as just another intense drama. But now, with everything surfacing about Epstein, some are drawing connections between the film's themes and the alleged real-world scandals, from fake talent scouts to secretive parties involving powerful figures. Of course, opinions are divided. One person commented, "Reading the Epstein files, it sounds like billionaires even allowed their own kids around him. That's terrifying." Another said Mel has been talking about these conspiracies for years. He even starred in projects centered around them. But maybe he wasn't so crazy after all. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Mel was exposing something long before the public caught on? And could this entire situation actually revive his career? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and click here to check out the next explosive video.